Hey. Alright everybody, it's time to talk about Weekly Shonen Jump 2026, issue number 8. Someone Hertz takes the cover this week. Looks pretty good. I like it a lot. It's very surprising, obviously, to see a series this new take the cover, but it is an insanely big hit in Japan, like monumental hit. It's actually ridiculous how successful this is already. So it makes sense. Nice cover though. As for news, there is some stuff to talk about this week because we have an axe wave coming, starting with Oter of the Flame being the first one to go, which is interesting. We'll talk about it in the Oter of the Flame segment later, but I wasn't expecting that to happen so soon. But in addition to Oter, we're also getting two other series axed. One of them definitely being Harukaze Mound, obviously. That'll be any week now, I suppose. And I thought long and hard about the third one. I thought for a second maybe they're just getting Gonron Egg out of here at the speed of sound, just like get the shit out of here quick because it's a mega flop. But I think rather this is going to be the natural ending of Elusive Samurai, probably in 2 weeks. I doubt that's like next week, but I guess it could be. Just a guess. I don't know. Maybe something else will get axed as well, but I think rather than an axe, it's just one of them is going to be a natural ending for Elusive Samurai. We'll see if I'm right. Place your bets in the comments. I'm curious what you guys think. But in their places, first of all, next week, we're getting a series called Under Doctor by Tanimoto Kyo. Don't know what any of these are about. I haven't read plot synopsis. I'm just going to check them out as they come. After that is going to be Kaigeki no Kinato by Amemiya Kento. Okay. And lastly, it'll be Alien Headbutt by Inui Akira. See how they go. I hope this is a better batch than the last one. They've been pretty rough lately, to be honest, so hopefully this is a good one to start 2026 off with, because they need this. And presumably, no sports series, so I guess they're just letting Harukaze go by the wayside, and they're not going to try to get another sports series in here right off the bat, which is good. I think they need to take a break from sports because, wow, they have been on a hot streak of flops. They've axed every single sports series that has entered this magazine in the last, 2 years, if not longer. All right, that's all we got to talk about. Let's go ahead and check out the chapters. Someone Hertz Chapter 17, I'd say I'm a corn dog. When I first read that title, I was like, what in the world is this going to be about? But it sort of makes sense by the end of it. So Mizuho did not win. Pretty much expected. I really didn't think there was a chance of her winning at this point. That feels like later in the story type shit. But to see this side of her, an actual emotional side, this is, I won't say it's new because we know she does have feelings. She's not like a pure comedy machine, but I think it's really nice to see her cry over something like this relatively mundane, and that's not to discredit her feelings. This is important to her. It's silly on paper to, be upset about losing a radio show contest, but to her, this is like her whole world. And I think it's just really cute to see how much she really cares. It's kind of peeling back a layer that we've been sort of unclear about. Even framing this whole chapter with Mime asking her straight up at the beginning, like, why do you submit to Munmid? I don't get to hear the answer, but clearly it's very important to her. Really nice moments in this chapter. I loved Mime comforting her and trying to get her through this the best as he can or knows how to do, and getting Mozuo back to her normal self by the end was nice. Really good chapter. Excited to see the whole cycle start over again. New season or whatever they call it. Points reset. I hope, hopefully Mime does better this time. I'm sure he will. It'll probably be, as the series goes on. I don't know how long this will end up being. It's kind of hard to imagine, but it'll be cool to see Mime actually start to become like a formidable challenge as the series progresses. Amazing stuff. Love this chapter. One of the best yet. The series keeps getting better, keeps growing on me, and that's a great sign because obviously the series is not going to go anywhere ever because it's so ridiculously popular. So the more I like it, the better. Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo Chapter 18, One Who is Capable. Another week, another banger Modulo chapter. Loved it. We get both fights this time, which is cool to see. We got a pretty, I guess not even split, but it felt even. But in terms of page count, I don't think it was even. But we get to see both the Maru and Tsurugi fight and Dabra and Maharaga, mainly focusing on the Dabra. Well, actually, specifically Dabra. We get a lot of Dabra thinking to himself in this chapter, which I think is really cool. It's really nice to flesh out this character a little more because he definitely needed a little push for me to make me more interested in him other than just being a really powerful guy. But now I have a lot more respect for him. I guess not respect, but I don't know what the word would be. I like him more. That's all I could really muster to say about it, but he's very cool. Action in it is incredible as always, looks fantastic, and I really like how we're moving into a new stage of their fight, the Dabra and Maharaga fight, with this newfound resolve from Dabra. So turning the tables, see how it goes. I'm sure he's gonna win. I think he could lose. Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. This fight truly, both of these fights could go either way. And I think that's what's so interesting and engaging about reading these. I don't know who's going to win either of these fights. Narratively, either character on either side winning makes sense. And a story can still be told with the results of said winner. Exciting times. I love this series. Can't wait for next week. Amazing chapter, as always. One Piece chapter 1171, Ragnir. We did it, guys. We're back in the present, and I gotta say, I think I need to reread Elbaf because I don't really remember anymore what was happening. I can vaguely recall, and more than vaguely, I can recall where everybody's at. I know Brooke and I think Robin and Usopp, maybe Jinbei too, are all fighting short hair girl that is emu right now. What was her name? Forget. I think I'm gonna have to reread Elbaf because it's been a minute. I've been totally in flashback land for far too long, and I've lost track of what was happening in the main story. So get back to you on that in 2 weeks because One Piece is off next week. I guess that gives me more time to reread, so that's good. But yeah, as an end to the flashback, really good. Pretty by the numbers, nothing crazy. It's a pretty normal ending. Pretty much exactly what I expected. Not really any fanfare to it. Cool Shanks moment though, liked that, and seeing more with the elders and Emu, and seeing that line, never forget that Elbaf is D. So first time seeing D used like that. So that's progress, I suppose, towards learning what the will of D is, but it's something. And yeah, all the stuff in the present just kind of reaffirming that, yeah, Loki's a good dude. He's on our side. Maybe he actually will join the crew. I don't know. I said the same thing with Yamato back in the day, and that didn't happen, so I don't know anymore with Oda. So yeah, great chapter. Really nice to be back in the present. Seeing Luffy again is a sight for sore eyes, man. Wow, it's kind of surreal at this point. I almost forgot that this was One Piece. It's been so long. Awesome though, so excited to be back in the present and get the story moving again. Again, I loved the flashback. It was great, but man, it was long. I'm ready to be back in Elbaf. Let's keep it rolling. Very excited to see where we go from here. Ichi the Witch, chapter 66, 5 seconds of connection. Jikishirone has pink hair, I guess. I don't know if that was known before, but news to me. I guess I forgot if we did know. Looks good though. Amazing chapter. Gokuraku fans, we are eating good. He's now called Goku by Jikishirone, so that gets points in my book. Anybody named Goku, respect from me. Except Goku from Dragon Ball Evolution, he gets no respect. This is incredible. I love the whole trope of, you know, all right, I can give you 5 seconds, 1 second, 2 seconds to do this thing. And they're like, I got it. Reminds me very much of one of my favorite instances of this of all time in Fire Force, where Shinra is given 1 second of the Evangelist's grace, and he completely one-shots the thing he was fighting in that time. One of my favorite instances of this trope, and this is up there with it, to be honest. I thought this was so satisfying and cool, that Octo Rush, and then the panel of him holding their lifeless bodies like that at the end. Amazing stuff. I love Gokuraku, and I really liked this team up moment too with Jikishirone. An unlikely alliance, but it worked so well. Fantastic moment. Great stuff.
Feel the power of my magic!
Elusive Samurai, chapter 234, Tatsu no Kuchi, 1353. Maybe this will end next week. I don't really know. It kind of feels like it might. This was actually a pretty good chapter. It worked. You know, I've had my gripes with this series lately, And they're still not gone. I still have the same gripes, but this chapter, on its own, pretty good. Kind of work. I like that Tokiyuki is accepting his death, but also going out with some kind of bang, as we'll see next week. I don't really know what he has up his sleeve, but I like the whole like acting like he's scared to die now. He doesn't want to. I thought that was fun, and yeah, I'm sure it'll end in a cool payoff next week. I do mostly feel confident that the landing will stick at this point. I don't think the ending is going to be fumbled. Obviously, there's aspects of the ending that I find to be pretty stupid, but I think this final moment, this last moment in Tokiyuki's life will be memorable and effective. I hope. The build up to is pretty good. Again, I like this chapter. I thought this was pretty damn solid for the standards that have been the norm as of late for Elusive Samurai. So bring it on. Ready for next week. Maybe it's the last chapter. Maybe it's got 2 left. I don't know, but it's very close. Good stuff. Can't complain.
Get this man a gun.
Sakamoto chapter 244, commercial break. So first, I was not into this chapter because again, I don't care about this fight, this Akira fight. I'm good. Never really cared for Akira. I'll pass. But bringing Sakamoto in at the end and doing his whole bit with advertising this ballpoint pen now available at the Sakamoto store. Amazing. That was great. Great moment. And I'm such a sucker, you know, just bringing Sakamoto onto the page is enough to make me care again and be locked in and interested in what I'm seeing. But at the same time, that's a testament to how good this character is and how entertaining he is to watch. You gotta have a balance. You can't just use Sakamoto all the time, otherwise it would get stale. And every time Sakamoto is used in this series, and that is pretty frequently, he manages to be unique every time he appears. There's always some unique gimmick to any given appearance of his. And that's incredibly impressive. No Sakamoto entrance, like Save the Day entrance, is the same. And for how often that happens, that's really damn impressive. And this moment sure worked for me. This is one of the best yet. I loved this so much. It was so funny. So yeah, on the whole, not a great chapter really, but it won me over at the end, and obviously I'm excited to see the rest of this play out. We are in endgame now for sure. Only a few things left to wrap up, and I'm excited for pretty much all of it. Akane-banashi Chapter 190, What is Death? What a question. I think we're all wondering that. Another amazing chapter. I am really loving this like arc on a conceptual level of just figuring out this legendary story and also coming to terms with like what death means to you as part of learning the story. That's incredibly powerful and something that even somebody who doesn't know anything about Rakugo can get behind as just a human level concept, you know? Obviously art off the chain. I loved, you know, even though we don't get to see her perform it, we know she did perform it right here and now, and get a general idea of how she performed it is interesting. She's going the darker route, like Shiguma, which obviously makes sense. But I think by the end of this, and after this flashback they're about to get with Shome's master, which I can't wait. Akane flashbacks are always amazing. So this is really exciting, and I love Shome a lot. So this is going to be perfect. I cannot wait. By the end of this, I think Akane is going to come out with her own take on what death means to her and her own take on the story. It's going to be something new. That's my personal guess. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe it is just going to end up solely being copy and paste of Shiguma's version, but I don't think so. It could go that route though, but I don't think so. I think Akane has shown time and time again that she is capable of spinning things to her own will. Her world of Rakugo, her Rakugo amusement park that she's created. I think this will find its place in that amusement park, and it'll be a really satisfying journey to see. Great chapter. Loved it as always. This series is just so damn good. I know I sound like a broken record, but I gotta say it every week. One of the best there is. One of the best manga of all time right here, and we get to read it week to week. Can't ask for much more than that. Blue Box Chapter 226. That was so much fun. Indeed it was. What a chapter. I loved that a lot, that moment after the game is over. What a relief, you know, it's so serious, and then you just see that big ass goofy smile on Kyo's face as he says exactly the chapter title. That was so much fun. And then they have that nice little heart to heart on the court. Ayame is crying out the clipboard raised above her face to hide it. So good. And Taiki gets to move on to nationals, which is exciting. Expected. Obviously, this was going to happen, but it's going to be exciting to see regardless. Now, Hina. Hina's back. This is going exactly the way I've been saying it would. We're going to get this closure here. I think we're gonna get a nice conversation here. And it doesn't feel that way right now because the way she comes in is actually, it's pretty surprising, but it makes sense. I mean, there's no acknowledgement of what happened, the drama, so to say. But that makes sense. I mean, Kyo's here. I don't think Taiki's gonna just immediately be like, hey, so, well, you want to talk about that thing you did to me? Right here and now in front of Kyo. I think this will build to that. Maybe after this little outing the three of them have and a nice conversation, it'll be Taiki and Hina alone, and they'll work out their whole thing. Hopefully. I have faith that this will be handled well. Again, I really want it to, because I love Hina. I want her to have a good, satisfying ending, and at this point I'm unsure, to be honest. I don't really know where Hina is going. I've been unsure for a very long time, but I know I have faith in Miura to make this a satisfying story and likely conclusion to the character. Regardless, it's nice to see all three of them together again, going on one last little outing together. I assume this is the last. I mean, the rest of the series, I imagine, will be spent on nationals and further building Chinatsu and Taiki, which is pretty damn important. It just feels like the only trajectory for the series to go at this point. We kind of have to leave Kyo and Hina behind for the sake of, the two main characters' story. Although we're not done with Kyo, because Ayame has to confess, or Kyo has to confess to her, whichever happens, which I also think is coming up soon. This is, I feel like, in encapsulation, this is an arc centered around Kyo. Honestly, I think he is kind of the focal point of this arc. And Hina. I guess the two old friends. This feels like a part of the story where we are really honing in on those two and getting their stories straight for whenever they kind of have to drop off in favor of Chinatsu and Taiki. So I expect in the coming weeks, everything will be resolved with Hina and Kyo will finally get with Ayame. That's my predictions. Great chapter, though. I absolutely loved it. Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi Chapter 76, Toji Shuten versus Helzagaga. Not a bad chapter. I thought this was like a cool looking fight. Definitely had like the sauce to it. It felt fun, but not a lot of substance to me. The two characters involved just aren't really doing a whole lot for me compared to the Goro fight we just had recently. And those are two characters that we just met, all things considered. So this fight's a little disappointing after all that, but it's still fine and cool to look at. I just kind of want something more from it. But, this is one of those things that happens in battle shonen where I feel a fight like this will be better on a binge read, where you can just see all the things around it, and at the end of the day you can look back at this arc and be like, all right, that fight, not the best in the arc, but it was still cool. It was a nice little part of it. But when you gotta sit on this chapter for a week and have this as your only source of the story for a week at a time, it's just fine. It's all right. I didn't hate it or anything, but I just thought it was totally in the middle. Okay, cool to look at, but nothing behind the surface. Kagurabachi Chapter 108, N10 versus Magatsumi. So more fighting, more narration and explaining of powers and such. Cool stuff. I mean, obviously the art was absolutely phenomenal. Always love seeing that. The environmental destruction is off the chain. It looks so good. But the real part to talk about this chapter is the ending, where N10 is broken and Chihiro is stabbed seemingly through the heart. Okay, that's pretty bad. What is going to happen? I actually don't have a clue. This is completely unpredictable at the moment. He got like completely annihilated, like humiliated in this fight. He got destroyed. He put up a decent fight, I suppose, but at the end of the day, man, I don't think you got a scratch on him. And now here he is, dead, basically. Wow. I got nothing. This is a very bold way to end a chapter. I really, given what we know about the series, I just don't know what can happen to save him. I know he will be saved. I don't know. I really don't know. Just wait and see. Really cool chapter, though. I loved reading it. Shinobi Undercover Chapter 65, Splayed Out on the Riverbank. So I realized something this chapter. What we have here is a classic example of a setup to a rescue arc. And you know what rescue arcs make me think of? 2000s Shonen. Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, Big Three era, all those manga back in the day loved rescue arcs. And that made me think even further, you know, Shinobi Undercover is a lot like 2000 Shonen. And I think that's why I'm endeared to it. In totality, this series' structure and tone and pacing, maybe not pacing, but it's all very reminiscent of 2000 Shonen. So I kind of have a new outlook on this series just because I had this epiphany this week. I'm more endeared to it because I realize what is endearing me to it. It's taken me back to a simpler time in manga, and I think that's cool. Now, I don't really care about the character that is being rescued in this rescue arc, but I am very much down to read a rescue mission arc. I'm actually excited about it. I think this is the first time in a while we had just like a classic by the numbers story structure rescue arc. And it is a little different, but for the most part, this is classic. And I'm really excited about that. So, cool. I'm actually pretty pumped about this chapter, even though I probably shouldn't care on paper given how I've expressed things about how the story's been handled recently. But I'm feeling good. Feeling good about the series right now.
What are you doing, step bro?
Me and Roboco Chapter 265, Roboco and the Demon Realm. This is a great chapter, and we have a multi-parter, which is always fun to see. I like when Roboco does like an ongoing narrative. Very funny, a lot of good guerrilla antics, which are my favorite. I love the constant bits of Roboco basically not really giving much of a shit about his life and just throwing him at danger, literally throwing him. The part of him freezing and like breaking the ice was hilarious. I loved this. This was incredibly funny, and I'm excited for more of this. And it actually ends off with a really sick looking double page spread. So that's cool. I wasn't expecting that. I feel like, I'm just gonna take a guess that this is a Toriko reference. Maybe not. I don't know. I feel like I should know what this is a reference to, because just like the framing of the panel or the page, that's definitely a reference. I just don't know what it's to. I haven't read Toriko, so that's just my guess, but it's something. It's definitely some kind of reference to a thing. Let me know in the comments. I like this chapter a lot though. Great stuff. Witch Watch Chapter 232, Bone Crisis 1. I'm going to keep this short because that was a whole lot of nothing. I really don't even have much to say about it, but I'll try to get something out, I guess. I don't know. Just kind of basically got nowhere from the last chapter. We end off with them entering the boat, and we ended the last chapter with them entering the boat. All right. I don't know. I don't know what we accomplished here. There was some villain talking, but that didn't really feel too substantial to me. Just a whole lot of text with not a lot really being said. The series is in a weird spot right now, I'll be honest. I don't know how into it I am. I kind of go back and forth, but this time definitely not into it. All right, whatever. That happens, I suppose. Hopefully it gets better. This was a weird chapter. Not gonna lie. Hero Girl and Demon Lord Call Quiz, Chapter 9, The Hero's Next Door Neighbor. The series is going to be an on and off one for me, I think. Pretty evident from the beginning. and this was definitely an off week for me. I didn't really find any enjoyment to be found here. There's nothing funny or cool or interesting on display here, so like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be getting out of this. It feels like overly critical for something like this, because it's just, I don't know what this series is trying to do. I guess it's just trying to be cute and fun, but it doesn't succeed at that as often as I'd like it to. And really, this chapter wasn't like bad. I feel like I'm being too harsh on it. It was just kind of, I don't know, it was a chapter. It was a chapter of a manga that I read. I don't know what more to say about it there is. If this was anybody's chapter of the week, please let me know. What'd you like about this one? I got nothing. Got aliens now, I think. Chapter 9. Hima-Ten Chapter 74, New Year, New Start. This was actually a little sad. I hate to see this era come to an end of the house cleaning stuff. That was one of the more unique aspects of this series, and it's unexpectedly really sad to see it go like this. I mean, maybe it won't exactly. I feel like it'd be weird to completely erase the house cleaning aspect of this series, but I mean, maybe it really will. I don't know. But this came off as really sad, even though it's sort of a happy thing, because I mean, rather than being like having like a client, boss relationship, she'd rather them be friends, normal friends. But I don't know, something about it just feels weird. Makes me sad. Hopefully this turns out, though. This is going to be an interesting time, because it seems like he's trying to make moves on Honoka, while still, I mean, we have that narration from whenever he talked about that, saying like, but this won't really work out, or whatever he said. So what will work out? I'm very curious. Obviously, it's going to be these two. I know, Himari and him, Iamori, that's going to be the couple, but the path to get there is looking very unclear. So I guess in that way, it will be fun to see how it happens, even though we already know the end result. Cool stuff, though, actually. Very, very exciting times for the series. It's probably the most intrigued I've been by it in a little while. Well, not that long, because the Kana stuff was really good recently too.
Oh, that's a baseball!
Harukaze Mound Chapter 29, Harukaze Ball. Well, even though the series is definitely ending in the next 2 weeks, this was actually a pretty damn good chapter. I thought it was very satisfying. A really good way to portray taking down like a really oppressive batter as a pitcher. I thought that was really damn cool. I really liked the moment. I don't remember the batter's name off the top of my head, but him like swinging early, and his thought is like, the ball ain't here yet, I'm hungry. That whole gimmick he has. I thought that was really cool, and it worked really well for me. Great art, great like heat of the moment, letting moments rest for a minute before the final like impact. Great stuff. Really, really well done. The series is showing its strengths, even though it's about to end. So I guess it waited a little too long. But, well, okay, I don't want to get too into the weeds. I'm going to save this for whenever it gets axed in the next 2 weeks. But this chapter was good. I'll just leave it at that. I had a lot of fun with this one, and I was pretty damn impressed by it, to be honest. Mage Next Door, Chapter 10, The Elite Task Force HQ. It was actually a pretty good chapter. I like this new character, like the director of the task force. I think she's pretty funny. And just, moving the plot along, actually setting up like a proper story here where we're gonna investigate this group of mages from this nation and the mage world, I guess. So this seems to be a cool way to kind of get the story moving, and also combine elements of the mage world with the human world more seamlessly. So that's exciting. I think there's a lot of potential in the series, even though it is very low on the TOC this week. I won't quite let that bring me down. Maybe it'll be all right, because this is definitely the one I'm enjoying the most from this batch. Easily. The other two aren't very good. So, hoping for the best. I like this chapter quite a bit, though. I had a lot of fun with it, and it made me excited for the potential of this series, which is the best you can ask for an early chapter like this.
Can I offer you a nice egg in this trying time?
Gonron Egg Chapter 11, Teeming Woods. I don't know what to say. This was just the same shit as always. Pretty boring. Kind of cool art. Like, I guess that double page spread wasn't bad, but even still, like, it wasn't impressive. There's no background, which kind of takes away from it. It makes it look a little amateur hour. I don't know. Feels very Demon Slayer-esque with this human liberation army or whatever, like taking them in and being like, I don't really trust you. You got a demon companion. It's not a sister, but it is like a companion. I don't know. Not feeling it. Shocker, I know. But yeah, just bland, uninspired. Not much going on here. Otter of the Flame, final chapter. Otter of the Flame. So, got axed. Very unexpectedly, because we just introduced a new threat, had this whole Ice King team up, and it ends very unceremoniously, I will add. I think it wasn't very satisfying of a fight ender. And it makes me further question like why we even introduced this new threat on the second to last chapter. Just finish off the Ice King. That was already a multi-chapter long fight. Just make that the final fight. What is this? Very strange, but what did work for me in this chapter is the farewell to Flyga. I've never learned how to say it. Doesn't really matter now. That actually was pretty sweet. I quite enjoyed that one. It hit. It reminded me a lot. I don't know if you guys played Zelda games, but it reminded me a lot of like the farewells to the like partner, like companion characters in those games, like Fi or Midna. Specifically Fi is what this one reminds me of. So that was cool. I really dug that part of the chapter. Everything surrounding it, not great. The action was pretty mid. It looked cool, I suppose, but then the ending itself was also pretty damn weak. Like, I don't even really know what happened exactly. Like, I guess peace was brought to the land. They got like a new queen, put Ice King up for execution or something. I don't know. And Oder's just kind of chilling. It's fine. Yeah, I don't know. That's it though. That's this series. Overall, it was an okay series. It's not something I'll really particularly remember fondly. I'll just kind of remember it and be like, yeah, it was something I read. It was all right. Neat art from time to time. Incomprehensible paneling that only got slightly better over time, but would still dip back into garbage every once in a while. This mangaka needs a lot of work. I know Shueisha will give them another shot. I know they will. They see potential here. They really wanted this to be a hit, but it didn't happen. They're going to come back. This mangaka will be back. I don't know their name off the top of my head. Sorry. I can probably get that real quick. Yuki Kawaguchi is the mangaka. So, hoping for the best for their future. I do like their work, but it needs work. And I was hoping that in between the last one and this one, there would have been enough improvements to get a hit, but no. But maybe next time, with all the lessons learned from these past two series, they can come back and make a banger, but give them a few years. I don't want to see them come back next year or the year after. I'm talking 3 years minimum out of publication. Hone your craft, get better at paneling. Your art's there. The art is there. Kawaguchi's art is very good. It just needs writing and paneling to match. Maybe it'll take getting a writer, make an artist-writer duo out of Kawaguchi, but as their skills currently stand, I don't think they have what it takes to get a long-running series going in publication. But I'm hoping for the best. I like them enough. Not a bad series. Just nothing great either. Just a totally middle-of-the-road series, which had a lot of potential to be something greater than it was. Let's get a banger next time. You can do it, Kawaguchi. All right, that's going to do it for Weekly Shonen Jump 2026, issue number 8. Pretty good week. There's another one of those weeks where I don't think there was too many things that were like amazing, but most things, if not everything, was really good, except for a couple things. Like Neway's Exorcist, for example. But a lot of good stuff, and the thing, for me, that reigned above all else this week was Blue Box Chapter 2026. That was so much fun. Great chapter. Very satisfying and rewarding for being invested in both Kyo and Taiki, and even Hina to some extent, but that'll come in the coming chapters. Very emotional, very fun. Lots to like about this chapter. I loved it. Next week, issue number 9, Under Doctor will be taking the cover, a brand new series. Excited to check that out. I don't know anything about it. but it should be a good time. And also, a little note, next week will be a little weird for me because I will actually be in LA for a Persona concert when this issue drops. So I probably will have the episode of Jump out later. And I think it'll still be on Monday. It could be Tuesday. I don't know yet. We'll see. But regardless, I do not think there will be early access for members next week, and I apologize for that. I will try to make that up to you. I more than likely will make that up to you with another video during the week that you will get early access to. So keep an eye out for that at least. But yeah, next week's Jump, it'll still be out on Monday, which is the normal upload time, but it probably will not be out on Sunday for early access. It'll just drop on Monday for both members and non-members. Sorry about that, but it's just kind of what I have to do because of the LA trip. I won't be home to record or edit. And with that being said, that's pretty much all there is to say about this issue of Shonen Jump. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment with your thoughts on this issue of Shonen Jump. Tell me your favorite chapter of the week, your least favorite chapter of the week, or anything else you want to tell me about from this issue. And remember, you can become a channel member at 2 tiers, the first being the Nice Prisoner tier, which gets your name put in the credits sequence and early access to new videos, and the Super Nice Prisoner tier, which gets you both of those things, as well as your name read out loud right now. So thank you to DJ Tengen, Hexen Zijiden, Milu Kitty, Braden Farrell, Halfpipe, Rafker, the Cosmer 64, Cosmic, Key to the Skies, and Iliadis. Thank you all so much for your support, and thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in whatever you decide to watch next. Take it easy, guys.